we're at 2:40, so we're going to go ahead and get started. If we are not loud enough for folks in the room, definitely put your hand up. Same for AV. If we're not quite loud enough, let us know a visual, and we'll do our best to ensure that we do that. Thank you all for joining. We do have socks today that are pretty epic, awesome Mosaic socks. So if you did not get some, please see Miss Julie here, and she'll give you a pair. They're really nice socks, and you'll be glad you got home. So especially with the colder weather coming. So welcome to our session. I just wanted to start and introduce myself. My name is Bethany Pelletier, and I am Director of Product Management at GOBI and working on the Mosaic work. And I'm here alongside panels of librarians that will introduce themselves in just a moment. So in the session today, we're going to talk a little bit about Mosaic, kind of what it is, what it means to you, and then about our innovation program and sort of what it's looked like, and give you some insights there as to what that's been about. So what is Mosaic? Mosaic is our new books ordering platform. We are really excited about this. It is eventually going to replace GOBI and ECM both in time, and it is a net new book ordering platform. What this means for us is that it's going to be, technically where we need to be able to keep on pace with emerging library models and things. So API-driven architecture, responsiveness, accessibility forward, and as well as assistive technology compliance. So making sure that we sort of build it on all of that. In addition, it's going to offer all of the new functionality that we need to be able to support our libraries going forward. And so Mosaic launched to beta in mid-May. And we're really excited about this. And the offering that came out as part of our beta launch includes the ability to place orders for ebook monographs in a brand new storefront, to be able to search and discover them, to be able to get accurate pricing and availability, as well as locked-in pricing at the point that you order, real-time fast fulfillment within minutes, as well as real-time cataloging records to ensure that patrons have ability to get access to that content and discoverability right away. In addition, there's PDF invoices available through the new storefront, and as you would expect, the ability to run some orders, searches, and see what transactions take place in the system. So that's all out to beta for ebooks and from a few suppliers. We are building on that now as we speak. We are building out to offer more supplier partnerships coming in January, as well as ILS interoperability for ordering and invoicing. So online folio will be coming. In addition, we'll be building out duplication alerting, workflow things like order templates. So we're just going to continue to sort of build out the functionality over time. So that's sort of where we're at. And then after that, we'll start looking, as you can see in the timeline, more to some of the advanced ordering workflows, selector workflows, approval plans, DDA, all of those things over time. So we've just launched and we already are really enthused, but how did we get here? And I have to say, a huge grateful thank you to our innovation partners. And that's kind of what we're here to talk a little bit about. The program itself and hear from folks on the program so you can understand. So for this innovation partner program, we partnered with more than 30 libraries, libraries of different sizes, different types, and different geographic areas. So we wanted to kind of get perspectives over a wide swath of types of customers and libraries to understand their needs and their perspectives. In addition, we partnered with some suppliers as well so that we could hear the voices in there and do some really cool, innovative things. And so what does it look like so far? Well, a few years ago, we started this project. We started to envision. Before writing a single line of code, we just started having conversations with people. So we met with many customers, had lots of conversations and lots of discussions about what their needs are, and sort of understanding what kinds of things could we do better. We wanted to make sure that we keep the things that are most important to everyone, but innovate and change up what we were delivering in terms of other functionality to sort of make sure that we could have the best offering going forward. We did some UI design concept and usability testing. Again, before we wrote a single line of code, we had some designers sort of put together some designs based on what we were hearing, put that in front of our groups to have them give us feedback to help sort of inform things. We also did a card sort where we talked through what would a menu look like? How do you really think about the workflow and how would you organize things? And then we have our focus groups in 4 areas that meet on a regular basis every other week where we talk about things. We look at designs, we look at things that are forthcoming and talk about them. We look at things that are actively in development, and we try to talk through some questions that we might have and get insights whether, what people's feedback is there. All of our innovation partners also have an active login to our testing environment, which means they have access at any time to get in there, to play around, and oftentimes we'll start our focus group meeting and there's brand new functionality that just is available there that they've seen for the first time because they logged in and saw it that day. So really excited to have them on board. We use the word innovate a lot, but sort of the secret ingredient in innovation is collaboration. And that is what we have with our innovation partners. We just have a great group of people and those insights, expertise, and things that they bring from their various libraries and workflows. We really take that to heart and are building it in to our workflow. And they have a lot of power over the roadmap, right? Because we want to build what works for them. We're really all about workflows too. It's not just selling books, right? It's making sure that we have workflows that work for libraries, that make sense and that are intuitive. So we're just really excited about this. But you've heard enough of me talking, so I'd love to hand it over to the panelists here. And I would ask if each of you could introduce yourself, a little bit about your library, your role within your library, and then tell us a little bit about what drew you to the program, why you are engaged in the program, and sort of why it's worth your time. You guys are busy, you have a lot of things going on. This is almost like a second job, and you guys are really great about showing up and helping out. So we'd love to hear a little bit about that. We'll go ahead and start with Mary from Strayer first.
Hi everyone, my name is Mary, and you'll see here, this is a beautiful campus of ours. We have over 70 sites across the US, and we were founded in 1892 to serve adults who were moving from rural areas to urban office jobs. And now, today, over 130 years later, we still focus on adult learners online. Our typical student is about 37 years old. She is likely a student of color. She's likely working full time. She is a parent, she is a spouse, she is a caregiver, and she's also coming back to school to earn her bachelor's or master's to earn a higher paying job. And so how that plays in here is that I focus on an online first research portal for our students, very much focused on ebook content, which is what drew me to this project. I actually only used GOBI a handful of times and quickly switched over to ECM. So many years ago, they invited me along back at the very beginning. I had to sign legal paperwork to promise that I knew issue that I was in on the very, very early chats of what's important to customers, what is our plan forward. And today, we are still focused on ebooks. For a sense of scale, we own over 100,000 ebook volumes for our students to use. So I'm very focused on supporting our vendors in any way that they can make our job easier and more streamlined for she's supplying that 24/7 research chance for our students. And then why am I still here years later is that I've seen changes. I have joined meetings and card sorts and UX and UI. I have received roadmaps. I have been in one-on-ones. I have been questioned and interviewed. I have been on group calls and heard from colleagues. And just as she already shared, months go by, quarters go by, and I see the comments of myself and my colleagues of what we want to see stay the same, what we want to change, what we want to improve. And we see those updates every 2 weeks.
Awesome, thanks so much, Ray.
I gotta follow that?
Yeah, you do.
Well, and I have to say, for Morag, we had Linda Barr from Austin, who was slated to be on the panel. You'll see her in the agenda. And she had a medical emergency on Monday and could not fly here. And so Morag was here, and we asked, and she stepped right in to do it. So it's a good example of how we work so closely together. And thank you so much for stepping in short notice.
So yeah, I'm Morag. I'm from the University of Washington, large public research university. Why I got involved, it was one of those things of there were several of us talking about, oh, hey, here's an opportunity to be involved, from the very beginning, developing a new platform. And I was, the lucky person who probably had the most time to commit to something that sounded like it was going to be a long-term project. And, we wanted to make sure that we had a voice at the table for something that, a tool that we saw was going to be replacing GOBI, something that we would be using every day. And so we really wanted to make sure that it worked for our users. But it's also about curiosity. Hey, it's a new thing, it's a new toy. So really wanting to take part in the process and see what kind of new thing we could help develop. As far as what's kept me in the project, is it worth my time on it? Absolutely. Even though it's been 2.5 years now, I think, since I and UW got involved in the project. As Mary was saying, involved pretty much from the start, and it's great. The longer I'm involved with it, to see as things are changing, as they're moving forward, it's like, hey, they incorporated our comments, they heard us, and so it's just the curiosity of what's the next step, what next thing will we get to be involved with, but just the excitement of definitely actually having a voice in developing this project.
And I promise we didn't pay them.
I'm Dean. I work at Yale University Library. I don't know how much background I need to give on Yale University or our library, so I'll talk a little bit about my job. I came into this position in 2020 from a cataloging background, and I largely work in acquisitions now. So from the very beginning of the things I started using all the time is the GOBI platform. Even though GOBI has its limitations, and once you're a regular user, there are some advocates and people that really love it. But I found some of the stakeholders, some of the folks I work with, had some difficulties with GOBI because they weren't in there every day. So it's once we use it more, we get more involved. And for us in acquisitions at Yale, I'm not only print monographs, we have about a dozen approval plans, approval profiles through GOBI. We get a lot of our collections through GOBI. We have a evidence-based acquisitions plan that is new this year with GOBI. So a lot of what we try to do is kind of bring together all our acquisitions practices, make sure we work in concert with the other departments within Yale, make sure we don't duplicate EVOs, make sure when we do duplicate, it's intentional. And before I worked at Yale, I was a project manager for a cataloging company. So my thing had always been workflows. I'm very interested in developing workflows that the people that I supervise can work with without having to ask me a lot of questions about it, sort of work autonomously through it without issues. So when I heard about this project and the opportunity to get involved, I was really excited to do it. It's not only a commitment on my part, but I also bring in people I work with to make sure the feedback's known, and it's a time commitment for me, but also for selecting librarians, collection development folks, some of my staff that does the acquisitions work. So I got involved right away, and I can sort of echo what Mary and Morag have said, that it's completely worth it. And I had not been involved in a project like this. For me, I'm sort of a natural kind of cynic or skeptic, and I thought, a project like this would be really nice from the EBSCO perspective to have Yale involved, right? Like put us up on the slide like that, and credence to what they're doing here. But I'm pleasantly surprised by the results. Like we said, we literally can mention something, and we'll see the results the next time we meet, or the next time we turn around and talk to the folks from EBSCO. So being able to get in on the ground floor of what it admittedly is a multi-year project, and I was also sort of initially concerned about the rollout one phase at a time. We're working on ebooks and we're involving print, but in hindsight, it really makes sense, right? Look, the EBSCO's working through in stages. They're involving us at every point. It's been a really gratifying and at times enjoyable process to be part of.
Thanks so much. So I think we'll stay with you, actually. I know, what kinds of challenges does your library or others brought to the program, Dean, that you want to share, and how have we worked within the Mosaic team to address some of those things?
I was just talking to somebody out in the hall, and I said, this first section, I'm going to get to go in and complain about GOBI. And this person said, well, I really like GOBI. I know it doesn't necessarily, it may have a bit of a bad reputation, but it is a really great system if you know what it can do, and it has capabilities that maybe a user that's not a regular user may not sort of recognize. But I'll just pick off a couple things that gave us challenges in our workflows. One thing, we're sort of multiple title cards, right? We know ebooks, depending on the supplier or the platform, can have unique ISBNs. Our workflow internally, a lot of people, when they do ordering, their default is just an ISBN search. So you do that ISBN search and you don't necessarily get every result. And this particularly came to the forefront for us because when GOBI added open access ebooks, I think it was 2021, we obviously wanted to see those, but an open access ebook will have a different ISBN than, say, a JSTOR ebook or something like that. So it was sort of a retraining of staff to sort of put, you add a lot of these caveats, like, well, if it's an ebook, you're looking for it on GOBI, make sure you do a title search because we want to make sure we catch all those cards. That's one of the first things I brought up, and everybody gets a chance to go into Mosaic, you'll see multiple ISBNs on a single title card, which for us is a big difference for our just our workflow and our searching processes. I think other limitations on GOBI, there's some searching limitations. You get that, you hit that 1,000 result list. There aren't a lot of ways to facet it out or filter it down. This is sort of a general, kind of problem. And another thing I mentioned, the e-collections. We get e-collections through GOBI whenever possible, right? Like obviously we get e-collections that can't come through GOBI, but we like that level of deduplication, right? Like to make sure we're not, the original sin for us is duplicating an ebook, which is something we really don't want to do. And we know metadata doesn't come out, MARC records don't come out in a timely manner necessarily. So being able to put our collection availability in one place, see that all in one place, in addition to our approval information, in addition to the go-between information. And I'll say, yeah, we have several base accounts because we can only fit 99 sub-accounts within each base account, which on the surface may not seem to be a problem, but it is a problem for us. So we could duplicate within an account, but not across accounts. So that's another sort of big complaint. I know probably the consortia has concerns around that kind of thing. So I heard me say at the beginning, there's sort of there's advocates for GOBI, and I feel like I am one, and I just mentioned all the things I can complain about and I don't like about it, but those are just some of the challenges we encounter.
Yeah, I love it. Bringing that stuff matters too, because we can fix a lot of these things. Some of it's already on the roadmap and others we can roadmap and change things. Mark, how about you?
Yeah, so, yeah, I was thinking about this and, you know, a couple of things come to mind from like conversations early in the process. When I and colleagues at Washington were talking to EBSCO, that we're now starting to see actually in focus group activities. So again, kind of finding out that our feedback on various issues was actually useful and incorporated. You know, one of the things, and I think it's come up in other presentations, my colleagues were fairly adamant as far as when you're doing a search, you know, you have that sort of Boolean or and, so all versus any words. And, you know, my votes were really, you know, it's got to be all words. You want that as the default. And so, you know, I don't think we were the only voice in that, but to see, you know, in the, you know, test environment, you know, Mosaic as a beta, if that is the default, and that was really nice to see. That was a result of our feedback. The other example, as I say, kind of more from recent focus group discussions, early on, one of the other comments we had was we really wanted more information about the ebooks, about accessibility, you know, access information. You know, it's not, you know, for instance, with GOBI right now, you click at a certain part of the record and you can see that it's downloadable. Well, that doesn't really tell us, is it full text, full ebook download, is it chapter download, are there page print and download limitations? And you know, that's the kind of information, is it DRM free? Those are the things that we really want to see at a glance. And so recently, just in the last month, the focus group that I'm currently on was starting to actually see mock-up versions of what this could look like and how that kind of information will be displayed. And so having kind of a next pass of like, yes, they heard us, and now we get to offer more feedback on, you know, what that's going to potentially look like when it's implemented. So those are a couple of things.
Yeah, I love that accessibility example. We have our arms wrapped around like what data is required by, you know, that we should have in there, we think. We're working with publishers to figure out how to get all that information. But what we don't really know is how do you need it sort of bundled up and where for which roles within the library do they need that information to make a decision. And so showing the mock-ups before we even, again, before we write a line of code to get your input on what do you need it, where and when and how, so that we can put it in there the right way the first time. So yeah, we're showing those weeks ago to our focus group. So thanks. What about you, Mary?
Yes, thank you. I had the pleasure of going last and say that I echo comments. So I'll try to say things that are different. I am also the odd duck out because when I came into my role about 6-7 years ago, we had, I believe, 101 GOBI accounts or sub-accounts or however it's set up. And right off the bat with almost 100 different people logging in, again, duping, the purchasing, trying to spend our money wisely was a challenge. And so very, very quickly, because we are virtually focused, we chose to not dive into the time commitment to learn the system and switch over to ECM. And so some of the challenges that I had in GOBI with our usage of it, such as pricing, firm pricing, deduping, we are seeing those improvements in the new platform, which I see already in ECM. So like how some of you might have features in GOBI that you'll miss or that you want, I have features in ECM that I want to share to hope to grow in the new platform.
All right, and I think, Mary, we're going to stay with you and kind of go opposite direction. So if you want to tell us a little about your collaboration with us, who have you involved from your library? What does that look like for you? And is there any specific activity or thing that you did as part of this that was maybe a significant impact for you?
Yes, absolutely. So I would say some of my key points here relate to constant improvement. So throughout the years, making changes, seeing that in the roadmaps, seeing that in the mock-ups, right? It's not that we show up to a focus group, we show up to a meeting, and suddenly the platform looks completely different. We have seen it grow, evolve, the informed modern UI, UX research behind building the platform to make it something that teams like mine can use. In my team, I expect all of my team members to join the issue selection process. So that means that the UI needs to be simple enough that someone who's maybe only going to jump into the website once every other month, once a quarter, can still quickly find content they're looking for, topics they're looking for. Also thinking about our faculty partners, I have been pushing for years and years and years to get our key faculty members, our deans, choosing books with us, logging in themselves. And this is a platform that I could see that happening with. And during the sessions, right, they have asked us live. Bethany and team have asked us live. They have sent us surveys. They've sent us questions to take back to our teams over the years. So I have tried to pull in as many as I can to make sure this platform isn't 100% for me. It's really for my team. It is for my team. It's for my faculty that I can have those experts in their fields inform what ebooks we're purchasing. I believe I hit on all the questions. Did I? Maybe? Enough.
Yes, absolutely.
Enough, I think.
Lauren, how about you?
I'll echo a fair bit about what Mary said as far as like it's for her team. I think, you know, when I started this coordinating UW's representation, you know, it was myself and one of our collection strategists, and we were sort of brainstorming who else to bring on because we did want multiple perspectives, and we ended up choosing, you know, a couple of sort of a swath of different subject librarians to bring in who represent multiple, just you know, somebody who works with undergraduate materials, somebody who works more with in-depth research process. We also added a collections librarian who does our accessibility testing for e-resources, just to get, you know, let her see what's being developed and her impressions of what would work on the new platform like this. One of our subject liaisons is also manages our chat reference, so she sees a lot of the questions that come in from patrons about, you know, why can't I find this ebook information? You know, how many downloads can I have? That kind of stuff. And so she has definitely helped inform, you know, just what kind of information do we need to see in this new platform. So kind of a wide variety of not just acquisition staff, not just collection development, but across a number of different areas, as well as my own staff doing the order processing. I currently still ask the questions, ask for feedback as I'm looking at stuff through the focus groups meetings, just to continue to get their feedback as far as like, you know, is this working? Is this going to work for us in our workflows? I guess, you know, thinking about specific activity, this actually does harken back to a year and a half ago or something like that, when we were doing usability testing and looking at prototype pages. I actually have one of our subject librarians who's basically, she had barely seen a demo of the test environment this past January, and she was already saying, can we switch to this now? And I had to tell her, well, it's not really fully baked yet. There are a lot of other things that, obviously we want added before we would switch, but even back at looking at the mock-ups early on, everybody was so excited to see kind of a new, more user-friendly, easier to read kind of different ideas of how that might look, obviously, but it's just something that everybody was excited to see what's the next step. So that's kind of like, and they actually thought it was fun. Say usability testing, it can be a fun experience. That has stuck with me throughout the project.
Yeah, it's really interesting that the focus groups are really, they're not my meeting, it's our meeting, and it's great because often the agenda is informed by questions that you guys bring, that you've heard from your groups, which is perfect. Love that so much. Good for you.
Yeah, so collaborating, there's a few things that stand out. We did card sort exercise. This was one of the sort of more time-consuming meetings, which is always difficult to schedule with colleagues, but I rounded up a few and we were able to sort of prioritize what we wanted to see where on the new interface. So it got into that level of detail, which I think was really kind of crucial. But for me, I keep going back, and I've mentioned workflow, but I really liked the workflow sharing session where I talked about the multiple title cards and the problems they presented and how we search by ISBN. It gave me a chance to sort of get into the different things, questions I get from selectors, because we have a lot of selectors in GOBI. I do multiple GOBI trainings every year. I train new selectors when they come in, and the same questions come up over and over again. It's, you want approval? Does that mean that's when we're going to get the book? No, that's not what that means. It's stock, or can order, or my personal favorite is preparing to ship versus will ship. Those sort of things that people ask about, and I have to explain what that means. So that kind of stuff, getting selectors involved and going back to complaining about those things, but being able to give my perspective based on the need for multiple trainings for selectors and even ordering staff. Talking about things we actually like, and I may be a little simple for this, but I really enjoyed the opportunity to get feedback on the name. They had two options. It was Mosaic and something else. What was the other option?
As a beacon.
Beacon, right? So I got that email, and I thought about it a lot, and I saw the value in Beacon, but for us, the way we order print, we order ebooks, we get e-collections, I thought of it of several different pieces coming in and forming a larger picture. I thought Mosaic was a great name, and now every time I think about it, I'm like, yeah, I've looked for Mosaic.
We put a little credit to Innovation Partners for the naming on our footer.
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, it sounds a little simple and kind of goofy, but that was my favorite part of the process. Now every time I get another Mosaic branded process, I think that was the right choice for the day. So definitely. And a lot of things that everybody covered already. But for me, the amount of time we spent with sort of training selectors, training orders, staff on sort of the intricacies, the sort of peculiarities of GOBI, that'll all pay off in the end with a more user friendly interface, and that's sort of what we're going for, and that's what we're looking forward to, I think.
I love when we talk about, we have such great lively debates in conversations. Someone might be asking for a button, but then it evolves into, well, why do we need this button? And different libraries are able to insert like what they're trying to achieve, and sort of almost like riff on each other's sort of ideas. And then out of it comes this like beautiful idea that we can do. And if we have UI folks on the line, which we sometimes do, like we did last week, the accessibility, they'll actually change the mock-up on the fly so that we have a visual, so it's like a working session. So it's a lot of fun. I really look forward to the sessions. So I know we're 5 minutes left, but we have one more set of questions here, or a set of questions. So we'll start with Mary. So how do you see the future library book acquisition evolving, and how Mosaic can be part of that? Is there anything specific that you're looking forward to or have input on?
Yeah, sure. For time, I'll answer the second question. I am looking forward to stats for ebook usage and purchasing on one site. I am really looking forward to that. Instead of having 3 logins, I'll have 1 login for our ebooks, right? Because right now we have GOBI, Mosaic, and ECM. So I am looking forward to 1. So I'll be 3 to 1. You all will be 2 to 1, right? But yes, so that. Also, I'm looking forward to the static cart. This is something that I understand you all are planning on having on the roadmap. But when you add a book or a list to the cart and your session times out, I walk away from my computer, I go to another meeting, I come back and it's still there.
Persistent part.
Thank you, like persistent cart. So those are 2 features that I'm very much looking forward to.